Let's go in a tangent here for a second on the daily payout. What was the inspiration behind that? And have you had any major success, like seeing guys like that are taking a ton of money out? And does it, maybe cause any hiccups on the internal side for you? What's the daily payouts like for you guys?
Don't do it if you're going to quit your job right now. Like if you want to learn how to do it, it's possible. But just like professional hockey, professional baseball, professional this, professional YouTuber, professional anything, you're going to get punched in the face a lot before,
Yep.
you let's call it make it.
Can you give the listeners any stats or anything to say, like, I need to have this percentage of a day win rate or a trade win rate or anything that a listener could say, I need to get myself to like this kind of data point, if you would, to then start to really see more success?
You're talking about starting out, Austin. Like, go put $5,000 into an account at NinjaTrader. If you're new, you're gonna lose it. It's not if, it's when. And you might go up to 25,000 before you lose it all.
100%.
Right? But at least, like, I think that's one of the benefits of prop is even if I can tell somebody, Austin, you're gonna lose, but it's gonna be your tuition you're paying the market is gonna be a lot cheaper than the tuition I pay the market.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Day Trading Show. Today, I'm sitting down with James from TakeProfitTrader. We talk regulation. We talk how to pass funding challenges. We talk about taking a pro account and getting daily payouts with TakeProfitTrader. So if you're trying to get funded, or maybe you are funded with TakeProfit or a different firm, I think you're going to love this conversation. James and I also get along really well, so the conversation flows really, really cool. Talk about his hockey career, just a lot of cool stuff covered. So I think you guys are going to like this. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Big thank you to Take Profit and James for giving us the time. Of course, thank you to you guys for always listening. And now enjoy my conversation with James from TakeProfitTrader. This podcast wouldn't be possible without Top One Trader. If you're looking to get funded and trade CFDs, check out the link in the description. I've also got a discount code that's going to save you 40% on your next challenge, maybe a little bit more. The code is ASFX. Use the link, check it out, and good luck in getting funded. And thank you to Top One for sponsoring the episode. What's up, traders? Welcome back. I've got a very special guest in the house today. James from TakeProfitTrader, my Florida brother from another mother, is here. James, it's good to have you on the show, man.
Thanks, Austin.
I know we're both in hurricane prep. You're dipping out. I'm hopefully going to be able to dip out on Friday, but I'm glad that we're able to get this done, dude. So like I said, this is going to go up 2 weeks from now. So not this Saturday, next Saturday. So we're going to get this information out to people, right now, which I think is important because the prop firm industry, the funding company industry is changing a lot every week, every day, new firms popping up, but you guys have been able to like maintain a really strong setting as like a top 5 firm. I think not just in futures, but across CFD firms as well. Like more and more people are talking about you. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show and get to know you and the company a little bit more. So James, give us a little bit of a background on yourself, if you don't mind. I know you're in Florida, but how'd you get here? How'd you get to Take Profit started and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, man, first of all, thanks for having me on, Austin. This is awesome to always be able to get this story out to more people as this industry is growing like crazy. But, I started trading. I don't even know now because it's been more than 10 years. But when I was in my previous, I would like to say my previous life, I was a professional hockey player, and you can call it like
Nice.
whatever you want, semi-pro, whatever you want to say. And I never played a game in the NHL, so I don't, pretend to be better than I was. But I spent a lot of time when I got to Europe. I started my career kind of as a trader because it's the first time in my life that I was like, man, I'm not going to be play hockey for the rest of my life. I didn't know if I was going to be. I landed in Germany, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be here for a year, and I ended up being there for 10 years. So what I got to do was
Wow.
learn the trade, and I was so naive when I started that I was like, I blew probably, I don't even know how many, 6 figures, at least one, trading on my own because that was before like anybody knew about prop. This was
Right.
before the micros. This was when every mistake was costing you $50 in the ES per point, right?
Tuition was expensive at that point.
It
Yep.
was, yeah, and that's again, we'll probably talk about this later, but this is the whole point about prop and is even when you make mistakes in prop, it's different than when you used to make mistakes. When you're making mistakes with the E-mini at $50 a point with no prop, like a mistake would cost you 3 grand, 5 grand, something like that. So
Eventually cost you a marriage or a house or something.
yeah, exactly. So I'm, sitting here trying to figure out, okay, how do I go forward? And I ended up kind of stumbling into prop when I with a firm, not the firm that started this, with another firm that was soon after. One Up Trader was the firm, and I think they were probably second. And so I started that, and I was like, man, there were so many things that I thought that could be done better. And I did some consulting for a firm that's no longer around to show them, like, hey, how, because I didn't have any money. I didn't really have a whole lot of money to be able to, build the infrastructure for a firm. So I did some consulting, and then I saw like the mistakes that that company made, and then I, kind of at that point was able to start on my own. And then, this whole thing, and the whole point behind Take Profit Trader was just to try to do things a little bit better, and things that I thought lacked in the industry. One of the things being customer service. I thought it took way too long. The second thing being like, payouts. So a lot of the things you'll hear me say are things that we've kind of tried to harp on at Take Profit Trader, because as a trader myself, when I'm going through prop, I'm going, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, why would I, you take my money, you can take my money, but then like I got to wait for it, like when I want it. So there's all these things that, as the market has gotten more sophisticated in Austin, this is a sophisticated market now. There's a lot of competition. The traders know, that, these things have come up. The more sophisticated trader understands it. Back then, the traders kind of had their head in the sand because the industry was so new. They were just so excited about it. And it was like, yeah, you can just, so the rules have gotten so much better for the trader, so much better for the trader. Before it was like impossible. The rules were stacked against the trader heavily. And so, yeah, that's kind of my journey into this.
I love that. Really, like, and I can relate to what you're saying about the challenges there at the end specifically, because we've been coaching traders with our mentorship group for 4 years now. The first guy that I helped, his name is James. James made 6 figures in a year. He was like, hey, let's start something together. Long story short, 4 years later, here we are still doing it. And people were not passing challenges, CFDs or futures, doesn't matter, as much as they are now. So the challenge has gotten easier to pass. I would definitely agree with you there. And it's probably because competition between people like you, companies that are funding traders. So first, why do you say you weren't professional? What were you playing? Like the league under the NHL? Because that's pretty sick,
yeah, I
bro.
mean,
I mean, to be in Europe 10 years playing hockey, that's legit.
Yeah, the so I didn't play in the NHL. I played in the American Hockey League, which was like,
Oh, that's still a big deal, bro.
which was AAA.
Yeah,
But I just, Austin, I never want anyone to think that I'm pretending to be something that I'm
of
not. So
course, of
I
course, but
had,
it's still
like,
legit, bro.
by most accounts, I was a pretty good hockey player, but I never made it to the top level. At the time, the American Hockey League was probably the second best league in the world,
Yeah.
but that doesn't.
So who do you
um,
support in the NHL?
Washington Capitals, man, live and die
Oh
by the
God.
Washington
Oh,
Capitals.
dude, I should have asked you that before we did this. I can't even finish the fucking podcast now. Jesus Christ. I'm a Flyers fan, bro. God.
So going back to the hockey thing, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like with trading. I always say it's like trading and sport is very similar. Like it's so hard. It's like so
So
hard
true.
to make it, right? It's
Yeah.
so hard to make it. It takes grit, determination, perseverance, you name, insert corny cliche here.
It's true.
It's the same thing. It's because when you get up in the pyramid, right, it gets harder and harder to climb to the, because there's more, there's more, you're the best at this part of the pyramid. Then you go to this part of it, and you can make the analogy to trading. It's like when you pass the evaluation, you go up to the next part of the pyramid, and the rules get tougher, or and then you go up to
The
the next.
pressure is greater, just like in right. The competition
Exactly.
is harder. There's better traders there, right? Of course, 100%.
Exactly. So it's yeah. So my hockey career is kind of speaks for itself, but it wasn't like I've never claimed. I always
Nah, it's still
downplay
cool,
it
bro.
because I
I
don't
know,
want
I know.
I don't
It's
want
good
people
though.
to think that I'm something that I'm not, because I
Yeah,
certainly, there were much better players than me. The good
of
thing
course.
though is I had a long enough career where, and this is going to go back to trading, and it's something I harp on all the time. Is I had a good enough career where I wasn't relying on trading income or business income, so that I could do it the right way. And the same thing happens with prop traders. Everyone wants to quit their job when they come to trading. And I'm like, no, don't. It's too
I
much
agree.
pressure. Like, do it on the side. Hustle for an hour. Hustle for 30 minutes. Hustle for learn a strategy where you don't have to stare at the computer all day. I actually think it's easier for you because you get out of the noise of the market. But do not, whatever you do, force yourself to pay your bills with trading. It's just not going to work because all the pressure that you put on yourself that you cannot trade correctly when you have the pressure of the rent or this or that hanging over your head. It's just
100%.
it's it's not a
You know what I
sustainable
do?
path.
I found I agree with you 100%, and I've been saying that for a long time. Unfortunately, it's not the clickbaity thing that sells and gets you a ton of views. We would get way more views if we stand in front of a Lambo and say, "Quit your job and make $500 every day" or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that's not realistic. But what I've been actually doing is I got a couple of younger guys that are creating content around their trading. I've actually been kind of coaching them on how I've built my brand and my business to get sponsorship money and stuff like that, that keeps you, keeps other money coming in while you're trading. So I actually kind of advocated for guys that especially are younger and don't have kids, maybe in a family yet, and have lower responsibility. So I say start talking about your trading. Start making videos about your trading. Share your mistakes.
absolutely.
Share your. You never know. As you build a following, you start making some extra money. It helps. So that's
You
that's
got
really
to.
really good advice.
You've got to. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's like for me, it was just happened to be hockey. For you and for a guy that's a YouTuber, I'm not here to say like what's the right way and the wrong way to make money. Do whatever you
Of
got to
course.
do.
100%.
But you just got to have something where you can say, "Hey, I can rely on this. My next contract, I know I'm going to make this amount of money, and I can set aside this amount of money to trade because that's what I can afford to lose." And I'm okay. It's not like, okay, I'm quitting. Now this week I've got to make 6 grand. It's
Right.
like, forget about it.
Very
Like,
hard. Yep.
and this is an important thing to say in this day and age in prop now, because as more and more competition comes into the market, and you can see it, the claims get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it misleads people to say, like, in order to get a piece of the market, I got to say this. No, you don't have to say this. You have a duty to the customer to tell them how hard this is going to be. When my
Yep.
friends ask me to trade, they say, "Hey, I want to learn to trade." I say, "Don't do it if you're going to quit your job right now. Like if you want to learn how to do it, it's possible. But just like professional hockey, professional baseball, professional this, professional YouTuber, professional anything, in order to be in that 5% that can make it as a full-time guy, you've got to get punched in the face a lot
Yep.
before you let's call it make it.
Yep. 100%. Well said. Very well said. So talk to me about the inception of Take Profit. I know you said that there was a firm previous that you were doing some consulting with. When did you guys group up? And can you talk to us a little bit about the leadership team at Take Profit? Quick 10-second thank you to Edgeful for being the sponsor of today's video. If you're looking for a new edge in markets, in Forex, in stocks, in crypto, or in futures, check out Edgeful. There's a link in the description. And now let's get back to the video.
Yeah, so I think we state of Florida, I'd have to go and see. I think 2021 is when we started, but we didn't really. It took a while to build everything out with some of the contacts that I had from trading and um, the guys that work in the company. I mean, we got a really big customer service team that's 24 or 5.5 now. So we got an Asian team, a US team, and a European team.
Nice.
The reason that we've been able to do that is because remember when I was playing in Europe, I met a lot of people. One of the guys that's an executive at the company is actually still playing professional hockey in Europe. So
Wow.
we have a European team that we've been able to recruit from over there because we have somebody over there that's an executive in the company. We have an Asian an Asian team now that's sprawled out there. So because the markets never sleep. But the executive group are all athletes. It's me, our this kid Max that I played professional hockey with, is still playing professional hockey. A guy I played college hockey with is Canadian. Can't say kid. We're not kids
Not
anymore.
kids anymore.
Yeah, and my brother, and then a guy named Jeff. There's 5 of us that are the executive team, but we have a very big team underneath those guys. So everybody kind of does their thing for the company,
That's
and
awesome.
we put a lot of emphasis on being available. Again, that goes back to the 24 5.5. Because it's I say 5.5 because Sunday night we know that the futures market's open, so our Asian team is
Ready
there
to
with
go.
the opening,
Yeah.
and and just trying to be available because there's so many things that go wrong as this space has grown. I don't think people realize, because maybe you can't obviously don't see behind the curtain, but the amount of volume that's traded on, for instance, like the micro NASDAQ
Yeah.
is so big that, like, people want to let's say shit on a technology provider. Let's call it NinjaTrader Rhythmic. They're doing a great job of like increasing their servers because like
Right.
the space has gotten so big. You think that it's just like, oh man, this thing doesn't work. It's like they're seeing behind the curtain, seeing how much data that has to be coming in real time to as many people that's over at one of our competitors, Apex, Top Step, all these people that are calling in this data. They've constantly had to upgrade their servers to be able to handle the volume. And this is that's why I say we have to have a team that's available, because things happen, right? Things happen with the technology, unfortunately, just because it's popular. It's a
100%.
popular.
Yeah. Side question for a second before we keep going there. How do you like working with your brother? My brother and I tried to do a business together. We're 6 years apart. Didn't go so well. How do
Yeah,
you like
we're
working with your
five
brother?
we're 5 years apart.
We're
I'm
5 years
older.
apart.
He worked in corporate America, so he actually helps the team quite a bit. Of like, I'm so anti-corporate, that it's
So,
not even
dude,
fair.
my brother works in corporate. I'm anti-corporate. Sounds like we're the same. I'm older, just like you. So, how
But
do you guys have made it work though? Better than me and my brother.
so yeah, and so we have a good mix, right? Because he knew that corporate wasn't what he wanted, but there are some things that corporate companies do well. It's like we
Sure.
always have this thing at Take Profit. We try to say it's not this or that. It's like could be this and that,
Yeah.
right? It can be a
I
little
like
bit of
that.
both, because who am I to say that like my way's right? I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
this casual, laid back guy running a company. Sometimes I need to be reined in. Just like,
Of
again,
course.
making this analogy, going back to the trader, it's like you got to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you just think that you're doing everything right all the time, there's no room to grow. That's
100%.
why a guy like you is great, because you can say, "Hey, I do it this way," and I taught traders before too. I do it this way. It might not work for you. Like, this is kind of my
100%.
kind of laid back style. You might like to be a micro scalper. You might like to look at Bookmap, or
For
you might
sure.
like look at a short 3 period moving average, where I couldn't look at that. Like
Yeah.
it makes my brain
Yeah.
scramble.
It's funny you mentioned Bookmap. I just interviewed the guy Bruce from Bookmap. That episode's going up on this coming
Oh,
Saturday.
cool. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
piece of software. I mean,
it
but
is.
I,
Not
I've,
for
I've
everybody, right?
I
But
learned that
definitely,
exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's like it can give you some insights, but it's not the golden
yeah.
goose. Nothing is the golden goose, and that's what I'm here to. One of the things I'm here to to say to the
No,
trader.
dude, that's a great point. Your point about not quitting your job, that's another great point. How difficult trading really is good to talk about. So you've made a lot of great points, especially for some of the newer guys maybe that are listening and they're kind of nervous to take their first challenge and maybe they're apprehensive to jump into prop because they're skeptical of it. What do you say to those people that are maybe nervous or apprehensive to kind of go from trading their own money into trading prop?
Well, I got to also always be careful of what I say for legal purposes,
Of
but
course.
I even if, like, first of all, you're going to lose at first, but and you might lose forever, but you're definitely going to lose at first. But it's always a way better to lose a defined amount of money that's much smaller than what I promise you that you will lose if you open up your own account. I
Yep.
promise you. You're
Yep.
talking about starting out, Austin. Like, go put $5,000 into an account at NinjaTrader. If you're new, you're gonna lose it. It's not
Yep.
if, it's when, and you might go up to
100%.
25,000 before you lose it all, right? But
100%.
at least, like, I think that that's one of the benefits of prop, is even if I can tell somebody, Austin, you're gonna lose, but it's gonna be your tuition you're paying the market is gonna be a lot cheaper than the tuition I paid the market. So it might cost you $2,000 in challenges over at firm. It doesn't even have to be with us, over at firm X, Y, or Z. But that $2,000 was probably $50,000 in losses had you been trading the E-mini with your own money,
Yeah.
right? So it's a great teaching tool. It kind of mixes this whole, like, the teaching market with blending it with real world use cases, even though it's in simulation, in a challenge, is you're actually like pressured in the market, but you're not losing as much money as the traders I saw. And that's why I think that this whole thing is bullshit about the Lambo and this and that. In the old days, like how many people were doing that? 1 out of 1,000. And after he did the Lambo, he probably had to give it back because he ended up losing
Well,
$500,000
it's
the
the
next.
fantasy of it, bro, because people don't want to admit how much of a grind if you're really trying to, especially like taking payouts. Like if you want to take month after month payouts, which is somewhat difficult, most people, I mean, you could speak to the stats, I'm sure
Absolutely, really
most people are
difficult.
not doing that. If you put, I mean, someone that can pull a payout 6 out of 12 months, I'm going to guess is less than 1% of the people.
I don't know exact numbers. We have people that are pretty consistent,
Okay.
but even then, like
But it's a grind, even for those people. That's my point. Is like,
those
it's not like,
people, yeah,
yeah,
those people are the ones that lost. Most of the time, lost whether that was before us. But I can promise you, those people that are consistent, they're they took their lumps before, and maybe they
of
took their lumps
course.
before they came to Take Profit Trader. And
Yeah.
also this fallacy uh, of consistency, like what I see, and I'm going to use my hands here, but this consistency of like, I'm going to come in the market every day and I'm going to make $250, 250, 250, 250. That's not what we see. What we see is 100, minus 50, minus 100, minus 50, minus 50, minus 200, 2,000. Like it's asymmetric returns. This fallacy of like, I'm going to make 2 points a day and I'm
Impossible
gonna make
because that would
100 bucks.
assume that the
Like
market is consistent. The market's not. The
I
market is completely random all the time. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm
Of
just saying what
course.
we see from the data is that it's asymmetric returns. It's not this like, okay, my equity curve is going to go up like that. Now that's what people will want you to believe, but it's just not the reality. And I'm here to tell you, like, you would think that I'm here advocating for, not to come to Take Profit Trade. I'm not saying that the ability is there, but I just want to be like, people to understand that
A hundred
it
percent.
is an unbelievable opportunity to trade prop, but it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And most people won't do it consistently well, like you're saying. So
Yeah.
when you look at people's payouts specifically, in the guys in my mentorship group, I'm noticing there's no one taking the same amount of money out from a payouts every single month, especially because guys are trading with different companies. I'll trade some of these accounts and some of these accounts. So what I'm kind of telling people is you shouldn't really come into this assuming you could take just kind of like what you're saying before, a consistent monthly payout. Are you seeing that as well, where someone will get a 40K payout and maybe go 2 months without a payout, maybe even lose those accounts and then have to get back, and then they'll get a 10K, or maybe they get a 5 and then they get a 15 2 months later? It's never 5K this month, 5K this month, five. Is that
I'm,
what you
I'm
would
going to
say
give
too?
you a story, a real life
Okay.
story.
I want to let you guys know a brand new indicator is available for you. I've streamlined a lot of the analysis that you see me doing all into one place, all into one automated VWAP and key level indicator. LuxAlgo built this for us, and we're really pumped to get this out to the public. So if you're using VWAPs, definitely check out the indicator. If you're using 15-minute opening range or initial balance levels, definitely check out the indicator. There's a link in the description, or maybe flying in above my head. Check it out. I know you're going to love it.
And there is a good example to explain what you're just saying. Is there was a guy that was doing so poorly that we would have to, he wrote me specifically and asked me, do not let me trade anymore. Okay. Do not let me trade anymore. Okay. So we had a conversation about what he's doing and how he's trading, and he left and we didn't let him trade. And he came back and he said, hey, I've been working on some stuff. Can I come back? And so right away didn't do very well. And then all of a sudden he had like a 2 month stretch where he was killing it, like just killing it. And then he kind of fell down a little bit. And then he came back 3 months later and was killing it again. So it's not like you see this all the time was he may make, and I'm just going to throw a random number out there. Anyone watching this video, this is not the real number because I'd have to go back and look, but a payout like, and in fact, I think we used them as a use case example, like a payout every day, every single day, because you can do that at Take Profit Trader. Every single day, let's say it's 25K over 10 days. And then the next 10 days, like 18K. And then all of a sudden fell off for a couple months, then came back and was like, 25K again, but like not consistent, not like every day he was making the same amount of money. But there are streaks where you'll do that, but it's not like you can say, this month I'm going to make this, next month I'm going to make this, next month I'm going to make this. It's just you got to take what the market gives you, and the market is forever changing. So
Dude,
again, the fallacy of consistency. The consistency is not the same amount of money every month. Consistency is pulling from the market and maybe averaging that out over 12 months, but you might make 90% of that money in a 3-month stretch.
in one quarter, right? And the rest of the quarters you're staying afloat. Yeah, and like you know what, trading is so difficult to explain to a new trader because like there's very nuanced situations. You and me both take longs on the E-mini at the same price. I could get out at a different price than you. We could make different money. We have the same thesis, same trade idea, yet I make money and you don't maybe. So like trading is so nuanced that like to look for consistency like that is just very, very, very hard. I've been trading since 2016 and I haven't seen it in anyone that I'm coaching or especially in myself. You know what I mean? Where, like you said, you kind of take what the market can give you. But let's go into tangent here for a second on the daily payouts because someone heard that and doesn't know that's probably the main feature of Take Profit. I think that makes you guys stand out from other firms. So, what was the inspiration behind that? And have you had any major success, like seeing guys like that are taking a ton of money out? And is it, maybe caused any hiccups on the internal side for you? What's the daily payouts like for you guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one of the hallmarks of the company because I always hated the fact that in any industry, not just this, because like the reason I got into trading is because I like love sports and I could be a degenerate sports gambler. And it's like,
Same.
okay, so if I go in and put $5,000 in my Hard Rock account in Florida, and I make, you know, I hit a parlay and I get 30K back, but like all of a sudden I can't get the money out. That doesn't make any sense to me. But you'll
Yep.
take my money, but I can't get it back.
Yep.
So it always really frustrated me, not just in trading. So what we decided to do was make it so that traders would get their money when they want. So we have the ability where you could take several payouts a day, and the only way we'd be able to do that is if we leaned on technology. So technology is the trader's friend. It's so damn good now, like the Plaid integration, TakeProfitTrader, and I don't know if other companies are using it. I really
I don't think
don't
so.
typically look exactly
No, I don't
what
think
other
so.
people are doing, but the technology is so good that it allows people to basically get their money on demand, and so we do that, and I've talked on other podcasts about this before, and I want to be very clear about this. One of the things people may not like about Take Profit Traders, they say, hey, in the test you change when you get to pro from end of day drawdown to intraday
There's a
drawdown
trailing.
at
Yeah.
prop firms. Like I wear that on my sleeve because I tell people, if you want daily payouts in prop, there's always a give and a take. If you want the cheapest price, then they're going to hold
It's true.
something back over here in your money. And
Yep.
I'm not saying that our way is right because I'm saying like we push people all the time. Hey, I think that this firm is probably better for you. Take Profit Trader is not for everybody, but if there's always because you always got to manage risk at your company, and there's always this and there's that. So you got to find the best blend for you. If you care about daily payouts and you're a very let's just trying to the cat's got my tongue here. A very disciplined trader,
Sure.
like Take
Then
Profit
it could fit
Trader,
for you.
yeah, it would be a fit for you. Now, if you
Correct.
like really after like the best price and you don't care about how long you get paid, hey, there are firms out there with probably better rules. I own that because I have to.
Of
That's
course.
otherwise you're just like trying to you're insulting other people's intelligence. So when people ask me all the time, I get this question all the time. It's like, why do you have this? Why do you have that? Why do you have this rule? I'm like, hey, we have what we have. And because we pay out every day, we can pay out multiple times a day, depending on how you're doing. This is what we have. I think it's a great product. I'm biased, but it may not be for you. And I think that's important, a very important thing to say.
It's a great answer. Yeah, the instant fund, the instant payouts are very interesting. Also, I was going to ask you about like the instant funding you've seen, I'm sure, with some of these new firms. What do you think about that? Is that going to be something that you guys, look to more? Is that not really?
Yeah, I mean, right now, it's a very good point. And the instant funding thing, again, it goes back to this like give and the take. So like let's say at Take Profit Trader, you walked in the door today, 5 days to get a pro account. So if you come in on Monday, you trade till Friday, you got your pro account, you open it up on Monday, you trade on Monday, you can take money into your plat account, like into your bank account on Monday night. With instant funding, again, I just want people to understand that I'm not shitting on the instant funding thing because all the firms have their own thing that's really cool. And like it might be for a trader is like you pay for the instant funding and that's great. But do you know that in order to, even if you're instant funding, you still can't get your money for until you've traded 10 days or they all have their own rules. I don't even know what it is. It's like 5 days at one
Yep.
firm, 10 days
Yep.
at another. And
Yep.
you've got to trade um, a certain amount of days in between payouts. So,
Yeah, it's a really good point, bro. So you're basically
if you
saying
look
look at
at it, like if you're thinking
it
day walk in the door, today
to
I get
pay
my
out.
money out, it's like instant funding might not be as good as you think it is. So
No,
I want
it's a
people to
great point.
understand that there's always, if something is good over here, they're probably taking something from you over here. And I'm not saying
Yep.
they're taking it from you like it's
In a
nefarious
super
or
negative
something
way.
like
Right,
that.
right, exactly. But you're just not getting the benefits everywhere. You can't have all of
It,
it. Right. Like, for
you
example,
can't.
I had the guy, Brett, that runs Tradeify on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking, and I have an account with them that I've been trying to trade. And now I'm eligible for my payout, but I have to wait until the payout window for me to
Yeah.
take that instant funded account payout. I've been trading it for 3 weeks and still haven't gotten money out of it. So is like, it's a fair question. Is it really instant funded if you can't get money out of it until this
And
specific time?
And that guy Brett, I've never talked to him. I don't talk to any of the CEOs actually, because it's just like I try to stay in my own lane and know. But that guy is like I like that guy. He
Yeah.
seems to,
He's in
I
Florida, bro.
didn't.
You're right between us. He's over in Boca. You're in Orlando. We should meet
Okay,
up and do a debate.
so that's the thing is like, and I've said this before. I don't know if any of your listeners have heard me on other places. Like, I don't shit on any of these guys. Like he's
No, I've
doing
noticed that,
this
bro.
and like
Never.
he's got his niche in the marketplace, and he's probably doing a great job. He's probably got a great product. I'm just saying the only thing I'm saying here is you've got, like you just said, you've got to understand that instant funding might not be what you think it is, right?
Yeah.
And you've really got to take the entire picture, and that includes rules, how many days between payouts, to determine whether, hey, this, like I understand the whole thing and this is like probably the firm for me.
Yep.
And really because I think the customer experience sometimes gets, that's when it leads to a angry customer when they say, "Hey, you told me instant funding, but like I can't get on a live account for 80 trading days. That's 4 months. So you have a path to live, but like it could take me 4 months to get there." And that's one of the things I really wanted to hit on too. Also, you might have had this question for me later, but is like for me to sleep at night, I have to have a path because people know of, simulation, live.
Yeah.
If you don't have a path to live, you got to think, why don't they have a path to live?
Right.
And if you do have a path to live, how quickly can I get to live? So I want to have traders have a 90-10 split. I want them to be making money on the live market with the amount of accounts they paid for. If they paid for 5, they need to be in Pro Plus with 5 accounts, not with 1. You pay for 5 and you get 1 account. Like, what the fuck is that? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, what is, what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like I want, I want there to be a story here where, hey, you're coming in, the rules are hard. Yes, there are better rules other places, but there's a path here to become a successful trader where you can see your orders ending up at the exchange. Now, if other firms don't do that, that's okay with me. Like I'm not here to shit on them. Like that's their business model, but there's always this give and the take, right? So I just want to
Always.
be very, very clear about that. There's always kind of two sides of the coin in prop.
Super well said. And it's good that you brought up the live because that's one of the directions I wanted to go for sure. Let's just go there now. How, first, I guess, can you see anything different between your live and even the guys that have pro accounts? Do you notice anything in their data versus the guys that just churn combines? Can you give the listeners any stats or anything to say, like, I need to have this percentage of a day win rate or a trade win rate or anything that a listener could say, I need to get myself to like this kind of data point, if you would, to then start to really see more success?
Yeah, I have an in-depth PDF about this because I
Okay.
can tell you that it's available on the website for free. We used to use it just as like people to read of best practices,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
millions of data points that we've seen.
Yeah.
Um, is a couple things from what you said. I think wholeheartedly that win rate is probably one of the most overrated metrics in trading.
Yep.
Now, number of days traded profitably, that's okay. I think that what's way more important and what the metric that we see most is there's an inverse relationship with the amount of trades people take to how well they do. So if I can come in and you can blindfold me and you can say, Austin, there's two traders. One guy traded, 4 times today, and the other guy traded 20. Most times, the guy that traded 20 did worse than the guy that traded 4.
Right.
Because and the reason I say this is because as from when I started in 2010 or 2012, you used to be able to make money on the smaller time frames a lot easier than you can now. I think that space, as
Really?
technology has gotten better, Bookmap, things like this. It's dominated by the order flow junkies, algorithms, and stuff like that. So I think it's harder to make money on the smaller time frame. So what we generally see in general, because there's always an exception to the rule, the problem is everybody thinks they're that exception, right? So I just say these in general rules is the more somebody trades, the less likely they are to do well. The more often somebody is trading, the less likely they are to do well. And I'm sure you're in your comments, people are going to be like, James is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And
No,
that's
I think listen, I think my audience is hopefully on that too, because I've said that for a long time. And we were talking about it at the beginning about like guys wanting to be at the desk all day and all that ends up doing. I learned from this guy, Scott Redler, a long time ago. I went to a seminar he had, and he always said, I mean, this guy was on CNBC. He's all over. He's still very well known on Twitter, a couple 100,000 followers. And he always said he would give back his profits in the afternoon. The more he would trade, the more likely it is you give back the money. So I think it is one of
absolutely
those
right.
old cliches, but it is very truth and it sticks through for a reason. You know what I mean?
So
So
yes, so Austin, one of the things too is again when we talk about fallacies in trading, people tend to think that the best way to manage risk is to trade with smaller stop losses. And I'm like I that makes my skin crawl because
yeah.
what happens is again in this world where the computers are dominating this small
Oh,
time
you
frame,
get
what you
smoked, bro.
get a
Right.
ton of noise in this
Yep.
bundle of like you just get smoked by
Yep.
having let's say I'm an ES. I see
Me
the
too.
ES on the back of my eyeballs when I sleep.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Is when you would trade the ES and you have a 1 point stop or a
It's
six
crazy.
stop, you just get crushed in the noise. So
Can't
what
do
I
it.
found is at the end of the day, the market did exactly what I thought it was going to do, and I got smoked somehow.
Yep. And I would
So
think like
I went the other way, and I said I'm just going to trade one central idea a day. It's either going to work or it's not. But like I'm not going to get caught up in the noise.
in 40 trades up and down. Right. I mean,
Exactly.
because of like what we do with the again that group that I work the mentorship group we have, we track all of our trades, we document a lot of that, we have a lot of discussions about what is working for the guys that are getting payouts and what's not. I think one of the things that's helped me is wider stops, smaller positions, wider stops, giving my time idea to breed. It's helped a lot for me.
I'm a huge. I'm in that boat with you. Like I
Yeah,
used to trade the ES when I started with 2 point stops.
that's
You
crazy, bro.
wouldn't see me like you. Somebody have to hold a gun to my head to
No,
do
I
that
couldn't do it.
now
I tell
because
everybody
like
like 5 is usually the
I
smallest, 4 is usually the smallest
yeah.
I'm
So
doing right now.
what I advocate to people to trading in prop is trade the biggest account you can with 1/5 of the size that you're allowed to trade with, and then
Because it
you've
gives you a
got
lot of space
a
in the drawdown.
a fighting chance. Like,
Yes.
so I'm talking about in Take Profit, 150K account, you got 15 contracts. If you're trading 5 contracts at any time, just stop. Just stop now and just, like don't do it. Just don't do it. So the
Yeah.
reason that I say the biggest account is not because it's the most money, it's because it allows you to trade really small size compared to the amount that you can trade. So then
Yep.
you can have wider stops,
Yep.
okay, and allow
Let your
trades to
ideas breathe.
like
Yep.
you can trade the context of the market. And this is what I used to teach traders. The problem is I can tell them, but you have to burn your hand. It's like your grandmother telling you, don't put your hand on the stove. Okay,
That's
you're gonna
trading,
go there
bro.
and burn yourself before
You got to let them burn it. They need a
you
callus.
got
You got to have a callus. So
yeah,
everybody's got to get burned. It's just a threshold
exactly.
of how many times do you need to get burned. Everybody's different. Sometimes the guys are stubborn. They need to get burned a million times. I have a couple of girls. The girls seem to pick it up faster than the
The
guys. We're
girls are the
stubborn
best.
sometimes.
The girls are
Girls
the
are the
best
best.
because they're so they're more in charge of their emotions, I
They
think,
are.
in trading. It's
Less
like,
greedy too. We're greedy, bro. And like you just said, you and me would get along well, James. I'm telling you, bro. I got my Hard Rock app, bro. I hit my biggest parlay. I had a nice three leg at plus 1100, 1156. Hit my first big one, dude. So I'm like you. I'm greedy, and it comes out in my trading sometimes, and I'm fighting that every day. But girls, they just don't seem to have that extra little degeneracy that
and
we have. You
I'm
know what I
gonna
mean?
say too, Austin, I'm not here to stand on a soapbox. I still do the things that I'm telling you not
Of
to
course,
do.
dude. I
I
said it on a Friday, 2 weeks ago, what not to do, and I went and fucking did it myself that same day. My
I know.
you know, that's the thing. It's like when you really trade, I think for a long period of time, like you and I have, you're one mistake away from being the same guy you were when you started, but just you make it happen less often now, and that's the
Yeah,
difference. You know what I
that's
mean?
right. And also I think that the beauty about trading, and like we can get off on, I know we're off on a little bit of tangent, is the self growth. Like I've learned self awareness, not
100%.
through my hockey career. I wish I was
No,
self aware I am now when I was playing hockey. I was an
of
idiot,
course.
right?
Yeah.
And but like I know that I'm an addict with this stuff. So like you put the screen in front of me, like you've got to physically take me away from it and handcuff me, even though I know it's not good for me. It's not
Yep.
good for me to, to
I know, dude. I know
it's like
exactly what you're saying.
it's just my personality, and because I'm aware of that, I'm able to
You can
control it.
make it work. Yes,
I'm
100%.
able to
You know
control
what
it
I
a
tried to do
little.
for a long time, dude? I tried to be too systematic, too rules based. And as over the years, I've leaned more into discretion, still having rules and structures. Like I have specific ways of with my, I like to use VWAP that I trade, but like being more discretionary, especially in my taking profit and stuff like that, not being married to certain targets, that has been super helpful for me. So that is trusting your gut. That's trusting intuition. And that has to be built over time too. So you need that building of the callus sometimes to get to the point of having the
Yeah.
intuition that we're talking about, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that intuition is built through blood, sweat, and tears. Like I said, I close my eyes and I can
Unfortunately.
see the ES on the back of my eyeballs,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Dude,
My
I love it,
eyelids,
bro. I
excuse
love
me.
it. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Great little tangent and also great points on the daily payouts and everything like that. I think that was a big thing people wanted me to talk to you about was the daily payouts. Why? But you mentioned that you don't beef with people, which I like. You know what I mean? I'm not too big in the beef online either. I'll say, like I told you, I'll say stupid jokes sometimes, but I don't really beef with people because I don't need that type of engagement. What do you think of this, bro? These CEOs on Twitter beefing with each other. Keep it 100 with me. What do you
I
think about
mean,
this, bro? It's kind
I
of a
just
joke, bro. These guys cursing at each other and stuff. It's crazy. It's like be the
yeah,
CEO, right?
I don't get it. I mean, it's just like a fight for market share, but I don't think people realize, again, I think it's some awareness and I'm here not to shit on anybody about their program or
Of
about like
course.
get personal about stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think to me at least, and I'm not saying that my way is right, but I'm just saying to me at least, it shows a lot of insecurity. It's like what's hiding behind
100%.
fights. It's like, why are
100%.
you fighting with somebody about it? Actually, I come on here and I say, Mike Patak's a genius. Like he's a genius. He started this industry. It's like, why would anybody shit on him? You might
Right.
not like might not like their program, but
I
like
agree with you
I might not
100%.
agree with him philosophically, but like, why am I gonna like Top Step's great, Apex is great, my futures funding is great. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not here to like, sit around a campfire and sing kumbaya either, but I'm just saying
But it
like,
makes you're right, bro. It makes you wonder why do you want that engagement? Why
why,
would the
why do you
company
want
want that
that? Like, why
engagement?
can't we
Yeah.
be, positive and grow the
Well,
industry
you
together?
know why, bro, because positivity doesn't get clicks on the internet. Only drama and
Yeah,
negativity
that's
and beef
true.
gets attention. That's what people like. They like violence, they like money, and they like beef and drama. That's why reality TV is so popular, bro.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
true.
trash TV and everybody still watches it.
Yeah.
So that's why. No, I
But I,
wanted
but
to
I
ask you
think
that
that
because I
this
think you
is,
guys do a really good job of that, bro. Just to compliment you guys. Like,
thank
I think the
you.
CEO should be CEO. Could you have somebody else like me representing the brand, being the guy that does and stirs it up? Like Apex has Patrick Wheeland, and right, like he's promoted them before. He used to promote. Like, sure, I think that's cool and that's fun and that gets everybody going. But the CEO, bro, like CEO, I picture your brother, corporate tie, my brother. You know what I mean? Suit and tie. That's a CEO.
Yeah, but this goes, yeah. I mean, you're right. I agree with you 100%. And I don't see how it helps,
No,
it helps the
doesn't.
industry because I
Because it
think
makes
that
everybody start wondering in the
in,
background.
in our industry, like it's kind of worked because it worked for a while to be like really loud, but we were never really loud. And now as the industry is like all this like shady shit is happening now in the industry, people are going, oh, those guys that take profit, they keep their mouth shut.
Yeah,
They
people like
pay,
that.
they pay, and then like we're going to do, and one thing I want to talk about, we're going to do KYC now on the front end, because it's like, how can I, like, shit's getting weird out there with people coming in being like 15, one person is trying to be 15 different users. And so, but it's being taken as a positive because people know when they hear me talk, it's coming from a positive place. If you're not doing, it's like, if you're not doing anything wrong,
Then you're not going to be
KYC,
fine.
again,
Right.
Plaid is going to do it. The KYC takes 15 seconds. It
Right.
takes 15 seconds.
Right.
And then you are who you say you are. And it's like, the only people that are mad about that are people doing shit they're not supposed to be doing.
And you don't want them as customers anyway. Right. Exactly.
So it's like, and if it costs me money, then like, so be it. But at least like I can put my head on the pillow at night and like,
Right.
what I'm not going to do, go back to the fighting. I'm not going to do whatever it takes to make more money. That's like, could we make more money by acting like a bunch of idiots? Sure, we could. But like, what's the longevity in that too?
Right.
When we're talking about an
100%.
industry that's, always staring at regulation,
Yeah.
what are we
Well,
talking
dude,
about?
in this industry, you said the word. We're going to go into regulation in a second. I wanted to just get your take on that. But you know what, dude, you're so right because like so many people still have attention on social media, like people like me that say they'll teach people how to trade and help people make money, and then they do something, one thing. They get caught saying they own a house that they rent or something stupid, and it ruins their reputation. And it's like, cool, bro, you do whatever you want. Like, we're not saying I hate you as a person, but your reputation is very easily ruined in this industry. So when you do certain things like that, you run that risk. And I think one of the reasons I'm still here is because I've chosen to go a different path. You know what I'm saying? Like you did.
But
Talk
that's
the
right.
positives.
And it's like, it's because it's authentic. Like,
Exactly.
why is Joe Rogan so popular? Because
Because
he's
he's real.
authentic. You might
Right.
not like him, but like he'll have a conversation. And you know what? I'll make the argument that it doesn't even help you to lie. Nobody gives a fuck if you live in the house or you rent the house, but just don't say you own the house if you don't own
Dude.
it.
And what's
Nobody
crazy is like
cares.
when you are yourself, like I think a lot of these guys would be surprised. People are actually, it's funny because a lot of people spend time on social media. You'll get good engagement. You don't have to be like that, you know? But anyway, we could digress from that. Let's talk about
Yeah.
regulation for a second. Tell me, if you can, I haven't really asked any of the other CEOs that I've spoken with about their take on the future of prop regulation. Do you have any thoughts you can share with us? I'm sure you've had these conversations internally.
Yeah, I mean, we have law firm that we work with and have gotten expert opinions, and I still think that nobody really knows. But the good thing we have going for us in this industry is a positive is mostly positive feedback. It's because the CME is a well-respected exchange, working with well-respected people out of Chicago. It's not a lot of the shenanigans that went on in CFDs. Like those things, because you have a back. I mean, that like the back of your hand. Those things are illegal in the U.S. So anytime you're doing something like that in the U.S., you're running a different risk, because the regulators look at that thing like it's got a black eye. The CME
100%.
does not have a black eye. So it's a reputable exchange where there's no shenanigans going on with moving spreads. There's no such thing as that.
Yep.
So I think for the most part, we've gotten mostly positive feedback. Again, nobody really knows.
No.
But that's why we want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row with we've got our story. Like, we legitimately, like, there's a path to a live account where you're trading. You can come in, you prove yourself. We've had guys in live accounts for more than 6 months at a time, not just like churning and losing, churning, make one, lose one, make one, lose one. And that's really the goal. And as long as we do that, like, we feel like we're well positioned if and when regulation comes. Nobody knows, nobody has the crystal ball, but it's a good
Right.
thing that the CME is well respected. This is futures. If it were, securities, or if it was FX, I think that this industry would have been long gone by now. So
Fair. Very
that's at
fair.
least like the advice we've gotten and the feedback we've gotten from lawyers that have had experience at the CFTC and are
Well, that's who
well
to
versed.
ask. Yeah, yeah. What's your relationship like with those live traders? Because I'd be curious if you could introduce me to any of them to do a podcast with. I would love to talk to somebody that's been with you guys for a couple of months. So how close do you, as the head honcho and the leadership team, how close does leadership get to your live traders?
Not that close, if I'm
No?
honest.
Okay.
Not that close. I mean, we see them from afar,
Sure.
but one of the things is that we want to. part of the reason that people come to trade is like they love the, to be able to be
The
anonymous.
freedom. Yeah.
Not, I mean, we know who they are, but
They don't want attention.
the minute that I say, hey, XYZ, can you go on with Austin? I'm not saying that I won't do that, but I'm
No,
just
I know
saying,
what you mean. I got a couple
well,
of guys that are like that. They don't want to
I'm
be on
trading,
camera.
I'm trading and I want to be in my silo and I want you to leave me alone. And
Yep.
so we let them do their thing, and especially the guys that have been consistent and long time in Pro Plus, is
Yeah.
we don't really want to rock that boat
No, of
because
course. It makes sense.
because back to the conversation we've had all along is it's hard to get there. And like
A hundred percent. And then you don't want to be
this is
annoying
so
the trader
nuanced.
to be like, oh, yeah, now you've been with us for so long. Come on this podcast or get on a video. It's like, dude, I'm here to trade. I'm not here to be your video monkey. You know what I'm saying? So I get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
100%. I get that
I
100%.
do I do think there's a lot of value in bringing somebody on and being like, hey, what makes you successful as a trader?
Exactly.
Tell the users like what kind of strategy you trade, where
Yeah.
you don't have to give away all of your because there's no secrets. It's like most of these guys will come in and say, I use some sort of context and I use VWAP as
Right.
kind of my my shining light to see
Yep.
kind of to frame the market. That's what I trade with, like
Yep.
VWAP, two standard deviations, and then I paint the picture of like this is what it did yesterday, this is what it looks like it's trying to do today,
Yep.
and let me trade a big picture. And so you'll
Yeah. So
get some
talking with
very
somebody like that, that would be interesting. But yeah, I know what you mean 100%. There's not a lot that that person might even have to share, so to speak, too.
yeah, I mean it's awesome too, and I think it's a great idea, and I'm not afraid to ask. It's
Okay.
just that we haven't. When you ask me
Do you have any in Florida?
how close we are with traders, not that
Yeah.
close. Most
Okay.
of the guy I'm thinking of, the guy that was the longest tenured
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
uh, was out of New York.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know if there's any in Florida.
Because I was gonna say we could do it in person. You know what I mean? Meet 'em, do a
Yeah,
little meetup. That'd be cool. Yeah, you think about it. You'll get back to me on that. But that was
yeah, I
that was
will.
my one of the last things. So before we wrap up, James, this has been a great hour. I know we've got the giveaway that we talked about before. We're gonna get that out to everybody probably on the premiere of this episode or something fun like that. I really appreciate you doing that. Do you have any closing thoughts that you want to make sure people hear from you? Just not even about Take Profit in general, just about the prop firm industry that you would give as advice to some of the new guys that are in the grind, trying to get funded, trying to get payouts.
Yeah, the advice I always give, and it'll echo what I've said so far, is just to slow down. Like we always, in my life, I mean, I'm 40 now. I've always felt like when I was playing hockey, I was always in a rush. It's like I got to make the next team. Is like when's my next game? When am I going to score my next goal? And there's beauty in that, right? Because we see here, but we got to see the big picture, right? We got to see that like there is a time to walk away from the screen, like you and I said. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for you. It's easier for some people and maybe harder for some people. But I always tell people to scale down how much you're trading and slow down. Just if you like, the more you slow down, the more you go up. If
Love
that
that.
makes it's so contradictory because nobody wants to hear it. And I understand why, man. I don't want to hear it. I'm not, and I want to, in closing, I want people to know that I'm not sitting here lecturing people. I'm sitting here because I am you. I was you. I'm not some guy that just bought some software and just made this prop firm because it was successful. I am a trader. I'm a trader. I know what you feel. And I know the path to success, not only because I was actually became a pretty good trader, but I see what it takes from guys on our side that are pretty successful. And it's always like just slow down, size down. It's not sexy. Everybody wants to
Nope.
trade 15 NQ
Of
overnight,
course.
try to
Of
make
course.
10 grand on 5 accounts, and like, yeah, that's great, but like, man, I just see blow up, blow up, blow up, blow up, blow up. And it's always size too big, trade too much. Size too big, trade too much. Size too big, trade too much. Over and over and over again.
Love that, dude. Love that. Awesome. All right, James. I know you got a flight to catch. We got a hurricane to get ready for. So we'll wrap it up here. What I like to do at the end is, guys, if you listened all the way through, which I think a lot of people will, drop the comments on YouTube or email me if you have any questions for James. I think we'll be doing a part two maybe later this year. We're close geographically, so maybe it'll be in person. So if there's any specifics you want us to dive deeper in, let us know in the comments. And I'll make sure we have links in the description for any promo that we can attach to this episode from Take Profit. I'll make sure you guys can connect with them on social. So all that'll be in the description. But James, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. Travel
thanks,
safe,
Austin.
and we'll talk soon.
This was fun, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you guys in the next one.